Hello everyone, my name is Mohit and I welcome you all to my YouTube channel. This is challenge number 4 of solving PySpark Challenges playlist, and in this video we'll see how we can create PySpark DataFrame from a given CSV file using multiple methods. Okay, so this is very common interview question in PySpark. You will be given a CSV data and you will be asked to create data frame, and then several more questions can be asked based on that result, which also we will discuss in this video. Okay, so let me switch to Databricks community account. Okay, so before we start, let me first check if we already have CSV file or not. So yeah, you can see we have this CSV file which we are going to use. So let me copy the path for this file. Okay, and for those who don't know about DBFS, it is nothing but Databricks file system, which you can consider it as a Databricks own file system where you can store the files and you can use for the different purpose. Okay, let me close this and let me save the path which we have already copied. So this is the file which we are going to use in order to create data frame. So to begin with, we already know that we have something called Spark session, inside which we have read method. Okay, so in order to read file, you can use spark.read method, and then since we are going to read CSV file, you can directly write .csv, and inside which we can give file path. So this means we are pointing to root folder of dbfs, and then we will give remaining path to point our CSV file. Okay, if we run this, it will create data frame. So let me name this as data frame underscore CSV. Let me run it. Okay, so it is completed. Now again, to view data frame, we can use display, then data frame name, which is df underscore CSV. Now if we run this, see, it has created data frame, but here is one difference. It has considered this header as data and it has created new column, but we don't want it. We want these ID and name to be column for this data frame, right? So what we will do, we have another parameter called header. So if you put this value as true, which means this particular CSV file has first row as a header. Okay. Now again, if I run this, so updated data frame is created. Now it is showing the correct data with appropriate header, ID and name. Okay. And it became possible because we used header equals true, right? Now again, if you want to check what is the data type of schema, then you can use df underscore csv dot print schema. This is very important method and this is very commonly asked in interview. So please remember this. In order to check data type of schema of a data frame, you have to use print schema method. Now if I run this, see, the data type of ID is string, data type of name is string. Although ID column has integer value, but still it is showing data type as string because we have nowhere provided any information about the data type of schema. So it means here also we have scope to control data type of schema. And for that we need to create manual schema. And how we can create manual schema, that we have already seen in our previous videos. So let me copy that particular thing. So in order to create manual schema, we need to have list of struct field for all the possible columns. Let me run it. If you really want to understand these things in a very great detail, please refer my previous videos. I've already explained how we can create manual schema. Okay. So here I have created manual schema. We can use this manual schema in order to create data frame. Let me copy this one, and only extra parameter that we need to pass is schema. So here we want to define our own schema that we have created manually with proper data type. So I'll pass it here and let me run it. And in order to view this data frame, we can use display data frame. So yeah, this would be same. The only difference will come while we use print schema in order to check data type of schema. See, here we got data type as integer instead of string, right? So here we have control data type by creating manual schema. Okay, so this was one of the method. There is another method also. Let me name it as method 2. Here what we will do, we'll write spark.read.format. And what is the format of our file? It is CSV. Then we also need to pass what is schema. So in our case, we are passing manual schema. So we'll write, okay, better let me put in next line. And in order to continue this, we need to put forward slash. So dot format dot schema. Then we have something called dot options in which we can pass multiple parameters like header is there or not. So header true. And do we want to infer schema? So let's keep it as a false. We don't want to infer schema now. Then in the end, we need to mention file path. So I'll copy this one. This is the file path, okay? And I'll name this data frame as data frame underscore CSV underscore 2. Let me run it. Now, in order to view this data frame, we can use display data frame. Okay. From this method also, we are getting same data frame. Now, in order to view data type of schema, we can use this print schema. So since we are passing manual schema, data type here is integer instead of string. Okay. So let's see what will happen if we remove this schema option. Now let me run it. And this is data frame. The only difference is earlier beside ID column it was written 1, 2, 3. That means data type was integer. Now you can see ABC. That means data type is string. And if I run this cell, you can see since we are not passing any manual schema, it is giving default value for the data type which is string. Now let me do one change in this infer schema parameter. What is infer schema means? That means we want to check data inside that particular field in order to decide what is the data type of schema. So this is false. That means it will not check any data type, and that is why the reason it has given default value which is string. Now let's say if we keep this as true, then let us see if there is any difference or not. Let me run this data frame. Let me run this display command. So here you can see 1, 2, 3 beside ID column, right? So expecting data type of this column would be integer now. See, data type of ID column is integer instead of string. So how it is possible? It is possible because we put this infer schema value as true. So while creating data frame, this particular thing basically went and checked the data type inside every field, and it has seen that inside ID column the data type was integer. Inside name column the data type was string, and this is the same result what we are seeing here. Okay, so we have discussed two method. First method using spark.read.csv, and we also control data type using manual schema creation. And we checked for method 2 where we used multiple options in order to create data frame using this particular CSV file, right? We will explore this option thing. We can pass multiple things inside this option based on what we want to control. So we will explore these options in our upcoming videos, and you will get a very much clear picture about all these parameters, okay? But for now, these two options were required, and how we can use this infer schema option in order to control the data type of data frame. Okay, so whenever we put this infer schema as false, it will give the default data type, And whenever we set this value as true, it will check the data type inside every field and return appropriate data type. Okay. So this was the method one we discussed for creating data frame. And this was the method two that we discussed. Plus, we also explored multiple options like Inferschema. And in all cases, we have seen how we can check data type of schema using print schema method. Okay. So this is the star mark point which we have already explored that by creating manual schema, we can control data type. Okay guys, so that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. We will meet in our next video with some new challenges based on the real-time interview question. Till then, take care and goodbye.